Jinger Duggar Teases daughters forget half of the names of their cousins, there's just so many to remember. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Have a nice day. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Jinger Duggar Vuolo's daughters can barely keep up with their extended family on the latest episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast. Jinger 30 and her husband Jeremy Vuolo discussed a super fun brunch with their daughters Felicity 6 and Evangeline 4 and a ton of the family. It was so sweet for Felicity and Evie to get that time with their cousins because they really love them, she shared. However, their daughters struggled to recall all of the names of their extended family members. They forget half of the names, and I feel like half the cousins forget each other's names too, not each other's names, the older like the aunts and uncles, she explained. There's just so many to remember. The former reality star recalled Felicity's confusion when the couple's friend Christian Paul and wife Ty recently announced they are expecting a baby. So she watched it a couple times, and then she said, "Okay, Mom, now who is Christian Paul to me? He's one of my uncles, right? Is he one of my uncles?" she shared, which she called so funny. Growing up, you have so many people around and it's just so confusing, she added. Related Jinger Duggar Vuolo details for year-old daughter Evangeline's recent visit, a little bit of a scare. The counting on alum acknowledged that it's hard to know who your aunts and uncles are when your mom's a part of a large family. And then, with the 19 siblings, then you have the in-laws as well, and then all the nieces and nephews, she continued. It's hard to tell who's related, and then we have friends who feel like family, but they aren't technically family. There will be one more name to remember when Jinger and Jeremy welcome a new addition to their family in March. Related Jinger Duggar Vuolo shows off her Christmas tree. She couldn't wait until after Thanksgiving to set. Jinger previously shared with how the pair are for the baby's arrival, as Jeremy acknowledged that while the news was something we were expecting, he was still shocked. "When she told me, I was literally speechless," he added. "She got me good. It was on Felicity's birthday. Jinger says, I've got a gift for you. It was in an Amazon bag. So I'm thinking, what did she get from Amazon for me? Then I open it up and at the positive result, and I'm actually speechless." Paid a heartfelt tribute to her late husband Jeff Baena in her first public appearance since his death. Baena, who was an award-winning filmmaker, died by suicide on 3 January at his home in Los Angeles. The White Lotus actor appeared at SNL's 50th anniversary event in New York City on Sunday to introduce musical guests Miley Cyrus and Brittany Howard while wearing a black blazer with a tie-dye shirt underneath. While the actor kept the look simple, fans were quick to notice that the tie-dye shirt was a homage to the late filmmaker, since Plaza had previously spoken about Baena's love for tie-dyeing and that they wore his designs for their wedding. During a December 2021 appearance on The Drew Barrymore Show, Plaza shared that instead of wearing traditional wedding attire for their impromptu lockdown nuptials at home that year, they decided to wear the tie-dye pajamas that Baena had made instead. "We got married on a whim. Literally decided at around 5 p.m. and got married at," she explained at the time. "Jeff got really into tie-dyeing during the quarantine. So I decided that Jeff and I were going to wear tie-dye pajamas that he had made for us. I made a love altar in the backyard of all of our love objects. It was very witchcore, but it happened." Noticing the tie-dye shirt homage to her husband, one fan wrote online, "So incredibly proud of this woman for being her truest self and keeping to whatever makes her feel comfortable." One person wrote, "It was so good to see Aubrey there." The pair started dating in 2011 and wed in 2021. They were frequent work partners throughout their relationship and marriage, with Plaza starring in Baena's horror comedy film, which was nominated for Sundance's Grand Jury Prize. They worked together again on the medieval dark comedy Husband and Wife. Alison Brie and Dave Franco. In 2020, Brie and Plaza co-starred again in the biggest commercial hit of Baena's career, Horse, which follows an introverted young woman whose dreams slowly start to take over her reality. Jinger Duggar has been honest about the challenges of growing up in the spotlight and of breaking free from the conservative teachings of her childhood. Jinger is one of children who were raised as followers of the Institute in Basic Life Principles, a fundamentalist organization founded by the controversial leader. Fans watched along as Jinger and her siblings navigated their daily lives on 19 Kids and Counting, which ran from 2008 to 2015, and the spin-off Counting On, which aired from 2015 to 2021. After stepping away from the world of reality, Jinger began to form her own ideas about faith, with the help of her husband whom she married in 2016. I'm grateful for my childhood. It was not perfect, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful for my parents, Jinger said on the podcast in June 2024. I love them. We have differences. Everything's not perfect between us, but I think that at the end of the day, them and I know that they know that. Jinger previously opened up about her upbringing in her books, detailing the quirks of her religious background and the different perspectives she has now. Her latest memoir, People Pleaser, which debuts in January 2025, will delve deeper into the not-so-healthy path she was on. Realized I was a people pleaser from the time I was a teen. They're people-pleasing that shows up in everybody's life every single day, and I think that's why now is the time to write this book, she said on the Jinger and Jeremy podcast in September 2024. It's such a problem and it will always be a problem. Scroll down for Jinger's candid commentary on her unconventional upbringing. Being part of a recognizable family came with a few surprises. Guys would write from prison for my sisters. It was crazy, Jinger said on the Dinner Party with Jeremy Fall podcast in July 2021. We constantly had letters coming in the mail and it was like, who is it for this time? Oh, it's for Jana. Oh, it's for Jessa. It was mind-blowing just to think that somebody thought they would walk right into your life and marry you like they were already basically proposing in their letters. Jinger added that some of the inmates might have believed the proposals were legit, saying, I can understand how somebody would think, oh, I know you so well because I watched you from a child grow up, so they think that they're there when there's not. It's like a one-sided thing. Jinger exclusively told us in January 2023 that she definitely recognized that her religious upbringing was many ways, adding, it was built on fear, manipulation, control, and superstition, so all those things combined, and how hard it is for kids to leave or adults to really. Once you hear the teachings, you're not supposed to depart from those. In an interview with People that same month, Jinger said that she was often crippled with anxiety growing up due to the fear and superstition encouraged by Gothard's teachings. I was terrified of the outside world, she admitted. The teaching I grew up under was harmful, it was damaging, and there are lasting effects. Jinger further reflected on the environment in her 2025 book People Pleaser, claiming she was taught a form that was all built on the appearance of holiness. She continued, it was so important to uphold this appearance that many underlying issues, struggles and sins were pushed far back, never discussed, never dealt with, unless it was in a twisted form of confession that still never really dealt with the issues. If you messed up in that setting, you were at risk for losing your community by not living up to the Gothard standards. In her 2023 book, Becoming Free Indeed, Jinger revealed that out of all 9 of her sisters, she feels most connected to Jessa. She is my closest sibling in age, only 13 months older than me. She is 5th and I am 6th of 19 Duggar kids, Jinger wrote. Growing up, Jessa and I were together all the time. Though all the Duggar girls shared the same room, I often felt like I was roommates with only Jessa. Our beds were next to each other for my entire childhood. Spent most of my life, that was my childhood, she told us. Like that was all I knew. I played with the boom mics and all of that, but my kids are just so not used to it. So it's kind of interesting to see. Fans have long been fascinated with the Duggar family's strict expectations for their children under the teachings. I thought I had to wear only skirts and dresses to please God. Music with drums, places I went, or the wrong friendships could all bring harm, Jinger told People in January 2023. During an appearance on the Unplanned podcast the following year, Jinger admitted that many of the man-made rules don't make sense, like not being allowed to wear t-shirts. If you have a normal shirt, you're allowed to roll up your sleeves, she explained. But you can't buy a t-shirt that has the sleeves already off. There were also guidelines put in place for courtship, with dates requiring a chaperone. You know you can't kiss before you're married. I don't see that in the Word of God, Jinger told us in January 2023, revealing how she plans to approach the topic with her own children. I don't think that courtship is a word that we're gonna use with them at all, because I don't think that that's the only way to find a spouse. Jinger admitted on Unplanned in June 2024 that she was afraid of the pressures to have as many as possible before she became a parent. She recalled having to take care of 2 of her own siblings when she was younger. I think that parents should take care of their kids. If you have them, you should take care of them. Kids can help out learn responsibility in other ways, but maybe not in the motherly aspects of what moms or dads should be doing, she said. You have all these imbalances of kids raising kids. I think that I saw that a lot in the system, and I think that that is unhealthy. Jinger Duggar claims 19 kids and counting was sometimes cut in a way her family. Jinger also remembered the IBLP teachings impacting her family's life in unexpected ways. We would never do organized sports because we were afraid of influences around us, she said. And so we would do a family sport in the community and we would all play that together. Looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have had maybe more opportunities to explore what I was really interested in that way. During an August 2024 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast, Jinger spoke candidly about growing up with 18 siblings. I remember a few times when we were very young, some of my siblings would take their plate of food, get ready for this, it's disgusting, in the bathroom, she recalled. They would carry it and put it on the bathroom counter. My mom would be like, don't do that. They're like they going to eat it. Jinger added, that's literally what they thought. I'm not going to be able to eat my food because somebody's going to take it and we might not have enough food for seconds today. Jinger wrote that she feels naturally wired to find arguments especially stressful, but I also come by it through years of my upbringing. According to Jinger, life in the Duggar household was in some ways a lot like what you would have seen on the television screen. We just didn't argue, debate, or engage in conflict, adding that Jim, Bob, and Michelle consistently and gently modeled a completely conflict-free environment to us. Looking back, the practice came with pros and cons. Arguments were to be avoided at all costs, which meant that, more often than not, you'd have to push down any squabble or disagreement in order to maintain the peace. For some of my siblings, based on their personalities, that was probably pretty tough for them. For me, it was kinda great being in a home where non-conflict was the expectation. Not necessarily healthy, but very much my jam, she wrote. Jinger revealed in People Pleaser that her extremely sheltered background often made her feel like she wasn't speaking the same language as others when it comes to pop culture. I saw very few movies and listened to very little music other than hymns and classical compositions when I was a kid. So there are times when I'm chatting and laughing with a group when someone brings up a line from a movie or busts out with a lyric from a popular song and I'm left thinking, she wrote. It's always a weird moment for me, feeling like I'm the only one who doesn't get it. Despite feeling behind the curve, Jinger noted that she was happily diving into a range of Oscar winners, comedies, epic fantasies with the help of her husband. There are so many great movies out there that I'm now getting to experience, she wrote. Jinger got candid about one unexpected drawback of dressing modestly in her 2025 memoir, revealing long skirts were not designed for learning how to swim. She confessed another way of saying long skirt swimmer is one who sinks. And because long skirts were the only swimming fashion available to me as a kid, and because I had a thing about not wanting to sink, the skill of swimming was not something I picked up during that time.